there and welcome to this afternoon's Tremendous Trees class. My name is Julie Sutcliffe and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK, and my page and my channel is called The Paper Haven. So welcome to this afternoon's class. Now, how this works, this is pre-recorded and I usually am around to have a little bit of a chit chat, but unfortunately I'm not available today. But I'm not at home, so I will try and pop on and help in and out with a few comments as best I can. But hopefully I've filmed this all good for you and you won't need my help. So big shout out first to my lovely ladies who've taken part in this class today. So I have Mandy and Vanessa and Deanne and Diane and Sarah or Sarah. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure which way I say your name, but I wanted to cover all options, and Carol. So thank you to the 6 lovely ladies who've taken part. I do a Saturday online class once a month now, and I do my coffee and card on YouTube every week, and obviously paper crafts and piano every week. So that's what I'm up to at the moment. So today we're going to make 4 cards. Now I am going to upload the cards in separate videos. This first video will be the welcome video and 2 cards which are very, very similar cards. And then I'll do another video for the 3rd card and one more for the 4th card. Okay, so I'll give you time to catch up, time to have a personal break, time to make a cuppa, things like that. So let's go through your pack. I hope you loved opening your nice box that arrived. Now in your pack you would have had a full pack of the Sweetest Christmas papers. This is unfortunate all I have left of those papers because they have been very well used for various things I've done. So I'm going to have to improvise there and maybe use something else, but don't fret, you have plenty of papers. Then we come to the cardstock. Now I'm very particular how I put this in your bag because I like to keep the different white sheets separate, okay? So we have 2 thinner, the standard basic white at the back, or it could be at the front, but it's separate from this piece. So that 2 of those, 2 garden green, 2 pool party, 1 old olive, 1 real red and 1 thick basic white. Okay, so that's the card. You'll have plenty of card. Then you have, of course, the stamp set, which is the Trees for Sale stamp set. Then you have the puff paint. Okay, so we've got the puff paint there. You will have some sequins in your kit, and of course, you have the tree lot dies, which were a special gift from me to say thank you for taking part in this class. Now, stamp ink pad wise, I'm going to be using, you don't have to really, real red isn't a definite needed, but I like to use it. We're using Pool Party, we're using soft suede. So if you don't have these, you need something a bit sort of bluey, this colour. Soft suede, old olive, and it's optional, but I've used Mossy Meadow sometimes, but again, it's optional. You can make just old olive work. Okay. You should have had all this. I will have emailed this out to you a couple of days before the class as well. We also need a blending brush or a sponge, some scrap paper, a die cutting machine, and a basic die like a circle or a square or an oval, heat tool, that's optional, and a black pen. And then your standard craft kit like a trimmer, glue, scissors, foam pads, etc. Okay, so I think that's all for, oh, I've not gone through what else was in your brown paper bag. You also have a piece of acetate, a large piece, a banner, and a smaller piece of acetate. So keep those safe to one side. We don't want to get fingerprints on those, really. And for anybody who didn't take part in the class, the Trees for Sale stamp set that I'm using is on page 39. It is still available on my online store if you did want to order. Links in my description of the video. And the papers that we are using are the Sweetest Christmas that are on page 9. So if you did want to join in at a later date, you can get in touch. Now, I think I've got 3. I will have to check. I've definitely got 2 spare tree lot dies. Which are the tree lot dies? These are the lovely caravan dies here. I do have 2 spare. So if anybody would like those, I can put you together a bundle of products and you can get those free, and then you will have access to be able to do this class. Okay. So yeah, that's just a little shout out for anybody who didn't manage to get the hands on those. Oh, I also forgot to say, you would have also got in your kit a little snack and a coffee, because I'm all about the snacks. And I've got my coffee here, although mine's not a posh cappuccino like yours. Okie dokie. Shall we get started? So what we're going to do, I want you to grab your trimmer. I'll grab my trimmer. Okay, we're going to start by grabbing our trimmer, and we need to start with, we need 1 sheet of the garden green. We need 1 sheet of the standard white, which, if you remember, was at the back. And then we need 1 sheet of the pool party. You can put all the other card to one side. You will also need a piece of scrap paper for this one and the blending brush. Now, just a little bit regarding my videos. I really do try my best not to go too fast. Okay, I really try. If I'm going too fast for you, you can pause this video by clicking at the bottom of the video, and you can rewind by dragging the cursor back, and you can rewind. That's an option. If you're stuck, I do hopefully have one of my lovely ladies, Wendy, I'm hoping is watching this afternoon. She does help me out a lot. We'll be able to answer any questions you have for me. So the first cards we're going to make, you may have seen these on a Paper Crafts and Piano, but we are going to do a couple of cards like this. Okay, so we've got a little snowy scene, we've got a little technique going on, which I'm going to show you. And for this one, we need a green, so I've used Old Olive, and we need soft suede, and I've used Pool Party as well. You also obviously need some clear blocks for stamping. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score my card. I always score first, and then it means I only have to do 1 cut and 1 score, or 1 score and 1 cut. Okay, now I have done these cards as tent fold, like that. You don't have to. I'm going to do them as I designed them, and if you want to do them so they are book fold, so they open like that and sit up a bit better, then ignore these measurements and I'll tell you what you need to do. So this light colour is the scorer, the dark colour is the cutter, so keep the cutter out of the way, and we are going to score at 14.8 centimetres. 14.8. So you can see I go up and down 2 or 3 times. Okay, we're going to score. We've put our card in landscape, and we're going to score. Then we're going to turn it to portrait, and we are going to cut at 10.5 centimetres. And then we've only done 1 score and 1 cut, and we have 2 card blanks. Now, if you wanted to do your cards the other way, yeah, so they are a book fold, so I'll just show you like that. Then I'm not going to cut mine, but what you do is you reverse it. So you would put your card in like this, and you would score at 10.5. So score at 10.5, and then you would turn it round and cut at 14.8. So everything's the opposite of what we did the first time. Okay, but I've just gone with them as tenfold. What I'm going to do now is cut this piece of Pool Party, and I'm going to cut it at 9.5. So I've got my card in portraits or vertically, and I'm going to cut at 9.5. Oh, I think I need a new blade. And I'm going to cut at 13.8. Okay, 9.5 and 13.8. And then I've got this piece left that's a bit longer. I'm going to put that one in and cut that one down to 13.8 because I'm doing 2 of everything because we're going to do 2 cards at once. Okay. I think I'll get a new blade for my next class or my other trimmer. Okay. So far I have 2 card bases and 2 pool party pieces. All right. Let me just swap my trim. And then we're going to take the basic white, the thin basic white, and putting it in portrait. I'm going to cut this at 9 by 13.3. So this is 1/2 centimetre shorter than the other one. And then keep that one there, push it along and cut it at 13.3. And then we should have everything we need. Now, this little strip that you've got here, that's going to be very useful to keep as a scrap for doing some stamping. So we have our 2 cards ready to go like that. Just checking I'm still in shot, and I am. Okay, so this is where we need a piece of scrap. And I'm just going to use a piece of like copy paper from the printer. Okay. And it might be worth you having a piece on your mat to protect your work surface. If you don't have that, the brown bag that I sent you your things in would be grand to protect your work surface. All right. Now, what we're going to do is let's just cut this paper down, because we don't need a full A4. So I'm just going to cut it in half, approximately, like that. Now, I did this on Sunday as a class, and some of the ladies freaked out at me because, well, one lady didn't like, she didn't like tearing. So anyway, we've got to get our big girl pants on and tear the paper. She did amazing. I think she thought she wasn't very good at tearing. So what I'm going to do is I want to create like a hill. Now that's not very good. That's not very much of a hill, is it? So let's try again, because it's only scrap. So that's a little bit better. So something like that. All right. It's obviously wider than our card. Okie doke. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. What I'm going to do is we're going to start with this one, and I'm going to show you different ways that you can do things, different designs. Oh, one thing I should have told you that you probably need is a mat, which we'll put underneath our brown bag for stamping on. Just so you've got a little bit of not such a hard surface. Okay, now, what we need to do is allow, it's up to you, a little bit of room for the greeting if you want to put the greeting at the bottom. But we can do different things. We can do what we want. So I'm going to bring this up about 1 inch or so from the bottom. I'm not taping it down or anything like that. I don't want to get it exact. This is a handmade card. So I'm taking one of our blending brushes, and I have used blue on it. So I'm just going to start, I'm holding this down and I'm just going to rub along the edge. Now you can use a sponge. You could even try sponge daubers if you have some of those. Oops, that's a bit heavy, but never mind. Okay. So now you can always add more, but you can't take away. So I'm going to show you how that will look when I take that off. Can you see we've got that lovely effect of like a little snowdrift, which I love. Okay, now what I might do then is I'm going to move this up, and I might do it slightly differently. I might bring it over a bit so that the valley isn't at the left, it's more at the right. So it sort of looks a bit opposite, and I've not got two valleys sort of in the same place, just to mix it up a bit. This is why I tore my paper, or cut it so it was a bit wider than the project. So I'm just going to rub again here. And I get that. I'm really pleased with that. Okay, really pleased with that. If you can see that a bit closer. Now I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to copy. I had a lovely new lady on Sunday when we did this class, and I loved what she did. So she just did one. She was a brand new lady. She just did one, but she did it quite high up. So she had a lot of white space down at the bottom. So I'm going to go for it. And Marion, thank you. You inspired me. Oops. You inspired me to do this one. There we go. So I've just got the one, yeah? I'm going to bring this one back in, and what I'm going to do while I've still got this is I'm going to just go around the edges and just gently ink them up a bit, just to give them a bit of a pop. What you're hearing me doing is I'm tapping it on my ink pad, but then I take a lot of the excess off, because otherwise it can get too much. And what I loved, what Marion did as well, she just inked up the top half and didn't ink round the bottom. So there was a real sort of, where the hills were, there was a real sort of difference between the sort of sky bit and the sort of land. It will become more apparent on the second card. So can you see I've inked that there? And then I'm going to do the same on this one, but I'm only going to ink this top portion. Now, if you don't have these, I can really recommend them, the blending brushes. They're in the annual catalogue, the big catalogue. And they come in a pack of 3. And you can wash them out. They do rinse under the tap. The ink runs out. So I've just inked around the top part. And hopefully when I finish my card, it'll look spectacular. But then we've got a definite difference between the, excuse me, the sky and the land, if that makes sense. Okay, so we've prepared. Don't rush that bit. That's the prep. That's the prep for our cards. So I'm going to bring in this one back in. Okay, and I'm going to take my stamp. We're going to actually do some stamping now. So I'm going to use this large tree, and I might use the medium one. Okay, so it's, and I'm going to just use the solid image. So it's that one and this one. I'm going to grab a block, well, 2 blocks actually, and place my stamp on here. Now these are photopolymer stamps, so you can see through where you're stamping, like that. I'm taking Old Olive ink, but you could use Garden Green, you could use Mossy Meadow, okay? To open our ink pads, they are a bit like a makeup compact or a mirror. So you open up like that, they just open like that. You can slide them in to sort of sit like that. So tap, 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 tap the stamp down. Make sure you've no debris on your stamp. And then what I'm going to do, oops, nearly messed up. We need to bring our piece of scrap paper back in, and we need to line this up with its original position. I nearly went wrong then. And I'm going to stamp this tree where the valley is, but I don't want it floating, so I'm going to actually be stamping the bottom half of the tree on the paper, okay? So I'm going to stamp once, and then I'm going to move it slightly and stamp again. And we get that effect. Do you like that? And then we're going to line this up. I'm going to use the medium tree now. And I'm going to stamp once here. And I'm going to just stamp again, bring it maybe a bit lower down, sort of overlap, and then I've got that. And then we have that. Yeah, so it's sort of like in the distance. I don't really think it needs much more than that. It's up to you. You can do less is more. I might do another one here actually, just sort of hanging off the end of the design. So I'm going to bring my sheet back in and line it up. Just have one sort of there. Yeah, I think that balances it out just a little bit more. You can keep going and you can get a bit but yeah, okay, so that's the first part. Now I'm going to take the greetings, so I'm going to use the word Christmas greetings. Now what I like to do is pop it down on the work surface with the flat part facing up and the word facing down, and then I take my block to it and pick it up like that, because sometimes these stamps are really quite flexible and they can bend, and they can bend out, not out of shape, but they can be not straight on your block. So I'm going to tap, tap, tap that into the soft suede. Don't do all this rocking and rolling and pushing, because you will get ink all around here and then you'll end up with lines on your project. Or I always have a practice, so this paper bag is great for that. So tap, tap, tap. So it's literally like a little bird pecking. Yep. And then I'm going to go straight down, no rocking and rolling, and back up. And I've got Christmas greetings. Okay, let's set that to one side, and let's take this one that we did. Now I'm going to have this a bit less is more, all right? But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to bring in these accents on the trees, so a bit like this one here. Okay. Remember, you can pause if I'm going too fast. So I'm going to grab the accent one for the larger one and for the medium one, all right? Now you might think, Julie, I've only got one colour, ink pad, one green. So how do I do the accent? Because I want it to be darker. Well, if you've got two greens, then you're all good. If you've only got one green, then I'm going to show you how we can do that, all right? So I'm just going to have two trees here, okay? And I might just use the smaller ones, because I think the large one might be a bit too much. Yeah, I'm going to use the medium ones. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to ink up with the old olive. So tap, tap, tap. Oops, hang on. We need to get our sheet in place. So I'm tap, tap, tapping. But then I'm going to take off a little bit of the ink on my scrap, on the paper on the desk. Oh, let me just do that again because I didn't do that even. So I'm taking off a little bit of the ink and stamping down so I get a lighter colour. Okay. And I'm going to do that again. Tap, tap, tap. Take off a bit of the ink. And I get a mottled effect then. That's quite cool. And then what we're going to do, we're going to grab the accent, but we're not going to take the ink off. We're just going to stamp it direct on. So we're going to line it up with the tree and we get our accent there like that. And we get that. And then we're ready for the moment. The moment. Ta-da! That is so, I love that. I love how that looks. We've got this lovely open space here now. So what are we going to do with that? Well, we're going to close this green ink pad for starters because an open ink pad does make Julie nervous. But my soft suede one is over there waving at me, but we are going to use that. So we're going to stamp our Christmas greetings. Again, I always have a practice. And I'm going to stamp it down here. Like that. Now, I'm going to add a little doggy onto the card. Okay, so there's this cute little dog here. And I think I'm going to have him so running across. Yep. So what we can do is, and there's also some footprints. All right, so let's just tidy up our stamps away that we've just used. I'm just going to put them back in my, because I need the blocks, you see. I'm just going to put them back in my stamp set and let you catch up, get your breath and everything. Now there's a couple of options here. You could stamp the dog on this scrap and you could cut it out using the dies that you got included in the kit. There is a die for the dog. You could cut it out by hand. If you don't like using the dies for something so small, you can cut it out by hand. Or you can stamp the doggy direct onto the project, which I think I'm going to do. But it's all about options, yeah? So we've just inked it up and I'm going to do the little doggy there. Yeah, like that. And then now I had a little bit of, not a debate, but I mean, it doesn't matter, but there's the footprints and I didn't know if you should do 2 lots of these because obviously the doggy's like got, I don't know, 4 legs, and to me it just looks like one side of the legs. But I'm just going to stamp this here like that, like he's just run along. Okay, it's a card, we don't need to overthink it because it is a card, Julie, but I like the simplicity of that. I love the simplicity of that, and I know who that's going to. That's going to my brother-in-law and his new fiance. That's going to them for Christmas because they have a dog and that could be their dog Buddy running across the field. So that's ready to be set up. But this one here, I'm going to do something a little bit extra on this. I am going to bring in the stamp that says trees for sale and my soft suede ink pad. Now, all these things that I'm doing, they are just options. That always stamps so nice, that. They are just options. Now, there is a die, again, to match this. I'm just going to actually cut with my scissors. But there is a die that could cut it out if you've got your die cutting machine handy. I'm just literally going to cut this out with scissors because I just think it's an easy shape and it just saves me moving everything on my desk just for this one bit for you to watch me. But I am using my machine for the next couple of cards. Okay, so I'm just going to put that up there so there's a little bit, it balances it a little bit more, yeah? And that's going to go there like that. But before I do that, oh, actually, yeah, let's glue that down. Oops. My favourite glue, my go-to glue that we sell is the multi-purpose liquid glue, or Tombow as it's lovingly called. That's going to go there like that. Right, now, this next bit is completely optional, okay? I'm going to add some of the puff paint, all right? And create snowy effect. I don't know where I've put it. Oh, there it is. You do need a heat tool, so I'm just going to plug mine in. Okie doke. All right, we're still on. We're still live. We're still going. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is called Snowfall Accents Puff Paint. I'm going to squeeze some. Oh, and you don't need to be too stingy. I'm going to squeeze it along the, you know, like the snowdrift, the hill. Oh, that's a chunk, Julie. You could even pop a bit on the trees. We could see what that looked like, but yeah. I'm just going to do that. You do need a heat tool for this to work. So that's the card, okay? I'm going to bring my heat tool in. And apologies for the noise. I'm going to set it on setting number 2 and we'll watch what happens. It takes a while. Right, it's starting to work now. It's because I've put a lot of it on. Okay, I think that's done. So can you see now how that's sort of puffed up and looks a bit like snow? I think I might need to give it a little bit more with the heat tool, but for the purpose of today's video, yeah, I'm pleased with that. Looks quite realistic. Okay, so we just need to put our cards together now. So we need to bring in, now these 2 pieces of Pool Party that I used with my wrong trimmer, I'm not happy with that. So I'm just going to cut myself some more. So just, if you want to catch up. can use those others for scraps. That's fine. Right, so we've got our 2 pieces of pool party. We have our 2 card bases and our 2 designs. So all I'm going to do now is stick them all together. Please do, this is where I normally, if I'm going to get ink on a card, it's now. So I check your hands that you've not got any ink or anything on your hands. Because we don't want to do all this work and then get a splodge of ink that was on our fingers. So I'm just gluing that down. Got a nice big border here. I have started doing cards with quite a larger border because I just think it pops more. So that's that one. This one, you've just got to be a little bit careful because when you've heated the card, it can sort of warp it a little bit, but it will sort itself out. Sometimes I like to use a couple of mini pegs to sort of hold the card down, because we've heated it up, it can have gone a little bit, but actually it's not too bad. Just got something, then I think I just caught some glue. That's not too bad there. Now, what you could have done with this card, you can do the accents if you wanted to, if you prefer the accents. But I try and do different methods. Oops, that's not very straight. I try and do different ways for my videos, so you can see different ways and how it looks. So there's the first 2 cards. There are the first 2 cards that we've done. And that's been about 38 minutes. So we've probably been about 40 minutes, which should be about 20 to 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let you have a little break, catch up, grab a cuppa, empty the washing machine, go to the loo, and I'll upload the next video for 3 o'clock. So it will be back on at 3 p.m. and I will see you then. Thank you. I hope you've got on okay with those cards. And I'll see you then. Oh, I forgot to say, when I went through the packs, I've also put you some envelopes in as well. All right. So I put some envelopes, and it might be nice to stamp a little tree in the corner of your envelope, or a little doggy. It always looks nice to decorate your envelope. Anyway, I'll see you shortly. I'll be back in a moment at 3 o'clock. Bye.